I said last time, and as you reminded everyone, that it's systemic structure almost. There's so many injustices towards the Black community which lead to poor health, and one of those is lack of health insurance. African Americans have less coverage than white Americans, and insurance is important. It's useful because we can get regular checkups, we can find diseases earlier, and the earlier you catch a disease, the better you can treat because you have less damage. So your doctor always wants to find the disease earlier. However, we said last time that there was a study looking at various minority communities, and that was right before the Affordable Care Act was put in place, trying to get an idea of the numbers. And we see in 2010 that 88% of whites had health coverage. Asian Americans had health coverage 82% of the time, and African Americans or Blacks, only 79% had health coverage. So the numbers are there. It's definitely proven that we do have less health coverage on average. Now, as important as health insurance is, I said last time in closing that it is a Band-Aid. And what does that mean? When you fall, you get a bruise, and that's when you put a Band-Aid on. Well, health insurance is useful for helping to find diseases and to diagnose them and to implement treatment for the disease. But can we figure out how to not get so many bruises? Is there a way to not fall as often so we don't really need to implement treatment for a disease? Well, yes, there is. And that is when we learn the laws of health. There are certain laws of health which are well established, which can help us to not be sick as often, which can help us to fight obesity, diabetes, hypertension, and so many of the ailments that afflict us, especially in the Black community. I don't want us to have unreasonable expectations of our doctor's visit. When we see our doctor, your doctor is not going to have time to discuss these laws of health. Your doctor is going to investigate what is your problem, how can we diagnose it, and how do we address it, but not with the 8 laws of health. So we have to learn that on our own time. We have to hold the steering wheel of the car for our health and direct it. And the general laws of health include nutrition, good nutrition, adequate exercise, getting ample amount of water, getting sun exposure on a regular basis, being temperate, not overdoing things, not indulging in harmful activity, getting fresh, clean air, resting appropriately, and trusting in God. These are some general laws of health. Now, there is a systemic structure for broken laws of health in Black communities. And I want to go through these different laws of health and see how in our Black communities are they being broken over and over again, leading to so much of the disease that we see. Now, when it comes to and Pastor, feel free to chime in whenever you want. When it comes to nutrition, last time you said, Pastor, that poverty plays a big impact in the poor quality of foods, the poor choice of foods, and the lack of ability to buy foods that are healthy. But when we go further in the next slide in how to remedy these laws, how to actually help follow these laws, I'm going to challenge that a little bit and really see if we can change our perception of what is healthy food, and is it really more expensive than unhealthy food. There's lack of access, right, to the healthy foods. When you go into certain communities that are poor, the quality of fresh food is not great. There's lack of education within our people. Many people still believe that healthy food includes drinking whole milk, eating cheese because it gives you calcium, eating yogurt, and that juice is healthy. Let's get juice because it has vitamins, apple juice. So there's a misunderstanding of what is healthy.
It is, well, you got to confess, it is healthier than soda. And that's the dilemma you have. So some of us are speaking from the perspective of, the level, but the
Yes.
level depends on who
Yes.
you are. And so if I'm
Yes.
used to eating donuts, then maybe
Hmm.
white bread is a better choice than donuts. And
Yes.
so that's what you're, so that's the whole issue is.
Yes, 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 you're right. And I love that point because it depends on where you're coming from. Are you drinking soda every day and have you gone to, apple juice instead? And will you eventually hopefully get to water when we get to our next slide? Oh, and also,
Mm-hmm.
what is your budget? That's one thing I wanted to really make prominent in our conversations. When it comes to picking healthy foods, we think that you have to buy very expensive things, but really we have to keep in mind our budget. What can we really afford that's healthy to keep our family going strong? And as I'm sure you would agree, Pastor, every Black family needs to have a budget, not in their head,
Yep.
but on paper, on paper or in the computer, so they know what's coming in, what's going out, what can I
Mhm.
really afford.
But there, I mean, the reality is there are a large percentage of our families that just don't have the resources. They know in advance
Mhm.
when they get their paycheck that
Yeah.
it will not last the month out. I mean, of course,
Mhm.
that's when they need budget the most, but
Yes.
they know it, and the idea of food is not a priority. Unfortunately, they're trying to get transportation and daycare and all that kind of stuff, and so it's
Mhm.
easier to go down to the corner store and just buy something to get through the day without thinking through. So poverty is a big deal. But for those who in fact have enough resources, yeah,
Mhm.
then now a food budget, that's awesome. That's going to save your life, I'm sure.
So, Pastor, you're saying that if you're poor, a budget cannot or may not be as helpful if you're really poor and your money is not going to stretch.
Well, the budget is always helpful, but I'm
Hmm.
saying there are some people, no matter how much budget they write, they can't afford food.
Uh huh. Uh huh.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
the budget is helpful for everybody to help me to recognize where I am and how I
mm,
can get to where I want to go. But there's still some reality. If I don't make enough money, I
yes, yes. So would a
can't buy the
budget?
food I need.
So would I? Okay. So I'm gonna hold on to that point. And you said if I don't have enough money, I can't buy the food I need. I'm gonna put that on the side,
Mhm,
and we're gonna get back to that because my
mhm.
aim is to see if we can look at the situation, and if we're really desperate to rise above it, evaluate what are the means by which we can step out of our circumstances and not remain a victim. I mean, we are victims, but
Well,
we want to rise
right.
beyond that. We want to go beyond that. So the next slide, I want us to see more ways
But
in which we can
let
help
me
solve
say,
it.
here is the power of education. Because what
Yes.
we're doing is by sharing with the community
Mm-hmm.
that which they need to know. When
Mm-hmm.
they go down to the local food bank, rather
Yeah.
than picking up the white bread, they'll pick
Yes.
up the whole wheat bread. So it might not be
Yes.
the food budget, but they still can have good practices. And I think that's the
Yes.
difference because a lot of the healthy stuff in the poor community get
Mm-hmm.
thrown away because they don't want it. They don't know what to do
Yes.
with it. They don't know how to cook it.
Exactly.
They don't know. So that's the real challenge. You see, teaching
Yes.
them to know what you can do with the good stuff so
Yes.
that even when it's available, maybe they can't buy it, but they sure can get it, down at the food bank. And how do you prepare it? How do you get the adequate nutrient from that? And
Thank
that's
you.
a part.
I love that suggestion because that there is showing me a way out of my circumstance. I love that practical suggestion. So you can't buy the food, but you can maybe find a way to get something healthier. I love that. Um,
Mhm.
another another law of health that's broken based on or systemic structure. of oppression is exercise. Many times, individuals who are poor don't have the space to go on and run. Many children right now in this COVID-19 era who are, are locked up in apartments, and there's no place for them to go outside and run in their own backyard or front yard because parents just don't have that space. Also, phys ed, physical education, is not in many of our schools. So our kids are not getting the chance to run and expend calories and really be more physical and get healthy. Water, which we need to be healthy, we spoke about earlier, is not had enough of. We tend to replace that with sugary beverages, um, because it's just everywhere. You go to the local stores, and their soda and juice and sugary beverages are so accessible, more so than water. Sunshine. In some communities, it's safer to be inside than outside, unfortunately. If you're outside, you may get into trouble, you may get mugged, you may get in the wrong crowd. And so that's an issue, because sunshine is important for health. And there's also the misinformation about sun. There are many of our people that still believe that if you're in the sun, you're going to get skin cancer or you're going to get burnt, and so they avoid the sun because they don't understand the importance of daily sun exposure. Temperance. Or people, many of us, we are broke, we are working many jobs, we are overworked, underpaid, and we are not temperate in the use of our time because we're just working too many hours, trying to make ends meet, trying to earn the almighty dollar. Alcohol and cigarettes are very accessible, more so than fruits and vegetables.
Very
And
expensive.
fruits and veggies are expensive. Is that
No,
what you're
no,
saying?
no. I'm just saying the alcohol and the tobacco are expensive too, and poor folks carve the money out for those for somehow.
I know. It's a matter of choice, right? A matter of choice.
Mm.
Yes, we are choosing to spend our money on things that are not making us healthier. And in many of our communities, the biggest meal is still in the evening. When I was growing up,
Mhm.
the big breakfast, no time for breakfast. Lunch, we had a medium lunch, and dinner, we sat down to a big plate of dinner, and that is not conducive to health. Um, that's something we have to look at in the Black community. How can we stop having this huge dinner and either have a bigger lunch or a bigger breakfast? We need to shift that meal to a different time. The air is polluted where we're living because many of us are crammed up. We're on top of each other in close quarters. We don't have good airflow. Um, we work in jobs where, in factories, where we're exposed to lots of toxins and pollution. And so the air quality that we're exposed to on a regular basis is bad. Rest, that law is wholly, completely violated, um, in our community, because many things. We often tend to do the night shift. The night shift is not good. Studies have shown that you could be healthy and strong, but if you're at the night shift, that's equivalent to you having diabetes. So if you're at the night shift, just kind of think of it as, oh, I have the risk factors of a diabetic. Your immune system is suppressed. The night shift is not the best one to have, but many of our people are stuck with that option or look for that option to help with family dynamics, and it's not ideal. And then trust in God. As we become more educated, more enlightened, we kind of put God on the back burner, and we are not fully leaning on Him as our forefathers did and taught us to do, because trust is really important in dealing with issues of the mind and stress and giving things over to a higher power. And many of our Black people are beginning to lose that sense, the realize that that's so important in their health. So we've looked at how the laws of health are broken in our community, and how the structures around us kind of almost make it easy to break those laws on a regular daily basis. And now I want to, Pastor, look at what can be done. Can we really flip the switch at all?
And I think, as you've covered the 8 laws of health, I think an important point to make for those of you who are watching is that if you just know these laws, for the most part, it'll strengthen your health situation. And but a lot of people are just not aware of the
Mm,
laws,
mm,
you see, because
mhm.
now for the most part, the truth is those eight are free,
Thank you.
you know.
And available to everybody.
Yeah, I mean it's harder, if you live in the inner city to get, out and get enough sun and to walk, whatever. But they are free, and you can get a measure of each and every one of them without going to the doctor.
Yes, 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 yes. Definitely. Very important point. So we've looked at those laws, and how can we try to change the circumstances that exist so that as a community we can be healthier. And I am often idealistic, and Pastor, you are realistic. So together we can we can help to suggest reasonable changes that can help our people. So when it comes to nutrition, junk food is cheaper many times than a lot of wholesome foods, and that is because they are subsidized. The many of lot of the money that we pay in our taxes that the government has goes to companies to help them decrease their costs and produce for you foods that are tantalizing and tasty but very low in calories. And so they've received money from governmental sources to help decrease how much their expenditures are so they can sell this for cheaper. So we need to kind of cut. That's a policy issue that's beyond our control, but that has to be stopped or decreased. These subsidies to companies that produce unhealthy food. We need to subsidize healthy food, make healthy foods more available to poor individuals. Um, I have here increase the minimum wage. We need more money. Black people need more
That
money.
would help.
Many of us work in jobs where we receive the minimum wage, and the minimum wage is hard to live on, much less raise a family on. But not only do we need more money, we need to learn how to manage and grow money. And I wanted to put that here because I really feel that if every poor person got $10,000 today, for many it would disappear in real fast. It wouldn't do much to change your circumstances because we haven't really learned as a people how to manage money and how to grow money. And so somehow that has to be worked into more into our community events, into our churches, into our family discussions. We need to talk to our children about how to manage money. If we don't have it, we just can't buy it, honey. Mommy doesn't have the money, so she's not gonna just out of thin air get this and just use a credit card. We need to learn to manage money, and that will help our situation a lot. And we need to choose healthier options. You mentioned the food bank, Pastor. The food bank is available to individuals who need it. You go to the food bank and there are choices, like you said. We don't have to pick the stuff that's bad for us. We don't have to pile up our bags with lots of chips, cheese, cookies, candy. We can pile it up with the fresh stuff, with the whole grains, the rice, the breads that are healthier, the vegetables. We can make healthier choices as poor Black people. It really can change when we make better choices. And we can also start to plant something. You may not, if you have any land anywhere, even a little plot, plant something, grow something. It makes a difference when you eat food that you have grown from your own soil. If you don't have any land, you may have a kitchen, have a herb garden. We discussed weeks back how herbs are so powerful, and the basic ones: parsley, oregano, thyme. Put it in your kitchen window and grow it. You can grow tomatoes right in your windows in your apartments. Grow something and get the nutrients from those foods to help your family. When it comes to exercise, we need to fight that sedentary posture, sitting on the couch, just watching TV for hours on end, or playing video games for hours on end, or just munching on chips for hours on end. We need to mentally fight that and say, get up, walk. I'm not a believer in the gym. So I have here, forget the gym. If it's not in your budget, you don't need it. Mind you, if you can afford the gym, it's fun. When I was in residency, I was a gym member and I loved those classes. I just had a good time. But if it's not in your budget, don't sit and say, woe is me, I can't afford a gym membership. That's not what you need to get physical activity. Would you agree with me, Pastor?
Yep.
You don't need money for a gym membership. I want to
Yeah.
encourage you to just get up, stand up straight, and step out your front door and move. If you feel that you don't
Well,
want to,
since most of the people we're talking to live in Connecticut, even though I have people from all over the world listening, the truth is we have space in Connecticut. Most of us live in areas where we have land space. So
yes,
just a little garden would probably give us our exercise and
yes,
health at the same time.
yes, that is very true. The gardening will give you that exercise. It will give you the sunshine. It will give you the fresh air. The garden
Mm.
is really, really key. I must admit, I'm not naturally a gardener. My husband is. He sleeps and dreams of planting. He's a planter, so he's always outside. So I have to push myself. Okay, Kathy, go outside and help him weed. I have to tell myself to do it because I know it's very good for me. Just being in the dirt releases certain chemicals from bacteria that helps you feel happier. Serotonin is released from playing in the dirt. That's why kids are
Wow.
happy in the dirt.
Mm.
So I have to push myself to go help him weed, go, help, go outside and do something, in nature. So
Hmm.
please, guys, let us fight that sedentary posture and be active. It doesn't require any money. Water, vital law of health. You need to have enough water to clean your blood, clean your organs, stay hydrated so you can function well. You can slash your fatigue in half if you just drink enough water. Many of us struggle with exhaustion. We're not hydrated. Choose
Hmm.
water over sugary juices. And one thing I noticed that I want to point out, Pastor,
Hmm.
when I go into the store, I see people who are on limited fixed income buying
Hmm.
cases of water, and
Yeah.
that is not cheap. So if you are on a limited income, and they're buying a case of water and a case of soda, mind you, everything is in the car. The water, the soda, and the juice is piled up in the car. They have every beverage. But if you're on a fixed income, um, just stop buying juice. You don't even buy the water. Just get a water filter with a charcoal water filter and turn on your tap, filter your water, and drink it. If you can't afford the water filter, boil your water. But you need to choose water over juice. Make juice a rare engagement. It shouldn't be a every meal activity. It shouldn't be constantly drinking juice. Or kids are drinking way too much juice. I told you a long time ago, Pastor, I stopped buying juice. I do when I go to the store, I don't buy juice anymore. Juice is only on a Sabbath, so everybody's like, oh, juice is Sabbath. But I don't buy juice. And when that's the case, I make it. I don't buy juice anymore. I've saved money, I've saved calories, I've saved my kids from being up and down and being too hyper with all this juice, and it's just not worth the dollars. So if it's in your budget and you want to treat yourself, go ahead. But as people of color with limited resources, I really would recommend water, and you don't have to buy it. Just drink it from your tap. Sunshine.
And I think
Uh-huh.
it probably is true that the need for juice is impacted by the diet that you're having. Because when your body is not satisfied, then you have this yearning, this craving for sugar when you finish eating, and juice fills the bill.
Yes, and when we are on a plant-based whole food diet, Pastor, that fiber just fills you up, triggers your
Hmm.
serotonin, you feel full, you feel happy. You don't need the juice. You're so right. Sunshine, get outside. We need to be outside. When it comes to temperance, uh, really
So,
avoid.
Doc, it is after 10.
Oh,
So I think we're
okay, our time
I'm
is
sorry
up.
I wasn't paying attention. The time went
Yes.
so quickly I
Mm.
couldn't see. That's
No
what happened when you're
problem.
having a good time.
Yes, yes. I think this has been useful discussion, and we'll certainly continue it when we get together next time.
Yes, awesome. Blessings. Let's say a quick word of prayer.
Mm.
Father, thank you for the time we spent together. Thank you for those who joined us. I pray that the information we share will be a blessing to all. This we pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
All right.
Have a
Well,
great day
you too. We'll see you again, Pastor, when we talk more about this together.
next week.
Okay, bye.